Hey guys, I am going to do a combined May, June. I feel like I'm so close to this camera still. A combined May, June wrap up, just because basically all the books that I read in June were for BookTube prize. So I'll start with May 1st and then do June, and then I'm probably just gonna do a giveaway like for one book still, just because I'm a little bit bored right now. So but I still want to be, spreading the love. Is Jake back now? I can never tell. Anyways, so I'm gonna do first the giveaway for my February April wrap up. I think the book was How the Garcia Girls Lost Their Accents, but I don't 100% remember, and I will re-watch it, or we can just, winner, chat with me in the comments and we can negotiate, just because I'm being very bad at all of this right now, so I'm not being too strict with my rules. Let's see, I have picked a friend. All right, Stan Georgiana, you won another book, girl. You're doing so great. I feel like you won the last one too. I don't remember, but anyways, yay, congratulations. I think it's How the Garcia Girls Lost Their Accent. Let me know in the comments if that was not what you understood. Okay, so yay. Okay, so first of all, I DNF'd 2 books in the month of May. I DNF'd Visions of Cody by Jack Kerouac. I had previously gotten maybe like close to 100 and some odd pages into this book, and I just needed to start over again, first of all, which is rare. I'm actually surprisingly good at knowing where I am in a book, even if I put it down for years and years and years. I think because it's like still active in my brain. Sometimes I'll remember a book that I haven't touched in years over a book that I've finished in a day, just because then it's like in and out super quick. I don't know if that makes any sense, but so I didn't remember anything about this book. And then I guess it's like based on his it's the ultimate chronicle of his experiences with Neal Cassady, here named Cody Pomeray. And it's just like, I don't know who Neal Cassady is, and I just like don't give enough of a care for Kerouac. I read On the Road. I'm glad that I read On the Road just to like have it under my belt, but his writing style, I'm just not super into, like the stream of consciousness stuff. I have yet to try Virginia Woolf, who I know is also like that, but I think that I would get on with that better than with this. It's just the writing is difficult, and I just don't care enough about the story. So I'm finally gonna say goodbye to that. Yay. And then I also DNF'd My Name is Lucy Barton by Elizabeth Strout. It's really funny because I had just watched Matt, maybe? Anyways, I watched another booktuber who did like a full Elizabeth Strout review video, so I'll link that down below, because I did find it very interesting what he was saying, but I don't care enough. There's a strong possibility that if I read this book, I wouldn't be upset that I read it, but I just don't care enough, and I have too many books that I would like to read and that I actually have interest in reading. I definitely got this at a library book sale, and it's just like there's so much. I know I complain when there's too many words on the page, but there's so much space between all these words too, which I just like kind of find irritating. And I don't know, she's like sick, she's in a bed. I don't care. So those were my DNFs, and I am officially saying that I will not read anything by Elizabeth Strout unless I am forced to do so. So then I finished 6. I finished 6 books in May, and if I had to order them, this is really awkward, I would put, unfortunately, The Black Church in last position. I will link below the part of my BookTube prize. I'm not going to talk about the BookTube prize books, but I'll link below when I'm talking about it and explain to you why this was not as satisfying or not as, pleasurable as I would have hoped for it to be. Then the rest of these books I really, really liked. So I'm going to say maybe this one next. How Much of These Hills is Gold by C. Pam Zhang. Okay, you understand what I'm trying to do. Say a name that I should be able to say, because it's not that complicated. So I read this for a book club, and I actually really liked this while I was reading, which I'm very surprised by. It's not the typical type of book. Like it's a historical fiction, but it's like written very contemporary-y. So it's got that, like, you know, other books that I have read that give me similar vibes writing wise, or maybe like The Mothers by Britt Bennett. That's the only one that I can think of right now, but it's just like feels like very much someone just, or like Queenie, like someone just wrote this book, and it's like very obvious. But I thought the story was really heartbreaking and emotional. I will say I was very irritated. So maybe, I guess, a little bit of plot would be helpful. It's a young Chinese American family, and I think the problem is that there's a lot of this book is kind of like would land in spoiler territory talking about it, but basically at the very beginning of the book, we have two young children. That's what I'll say. And their father has just passed away, and so the two kids who are Chinese American are trying to find out like what to do. And it's set during the gold rush, so there's so much racism towards Asian people. Like it's, you know, so that's a big thing that is taking part. But it's kind of like to me, it's mostly a story of these two siblings and like learning how to deal with each other in these new circumstances, because their mom has been, you know, gone for a while, and their dad has just passed away, and so he was kind of the only thing or only one holding them together. And also they're like children. So, you know, what do you do? So they're trying to, you know, live independently on their own, and they've got this like vision and hope and goal, because their father was like, we're gonna find gold and like blah blah blah. And then you find out what happens. Oh, I'm just like remembering now the story of like what happens, and it is the plot I think is good. But again, just like kind of basic. Just I don't know how to explain why I feel that way, because the story is one that I haven't read before. So I don't know what about it makes me feel like it's just kind of a little bit basic, but it is really good if you're into plot-based stories, you know, historical fiction, you know, it was really good while I read it, but in retrospect, maybe it's not as spectacular as I thought that it was. I think I was just like really emotionally invested in the story of these two siblings, and also the younger sibling is a shithead for most of the time, and it really annoys me, because it's just like, just be nice. Like, what's wrong with you? Then I think Be Gay, Do Comics would be next, and this is a queer history memoir and satire from The Nib. And so The Nib, I assume, is some kind of like maybe, I don't know. I should know. I should have looked it up, but it's some kind of publication or online thing that has comics. And so yeah, I loved this. This was so good. I feel like I've mentioned it previously because I had been reading this for quite a while. This was on my card of shame. But a lot of these are really hard hitting and like emotionally impactful, or like really, they make you really happy. So I was crying out of joy and crying out of sadness basically throughout this book. There's historical figures in here. It literally runs the whole spectrum. Like there's a story about like any kind of queer person, at least that I can think of in my mind, is, you know, it doesn't know everything. So maybe there are things that aren't mentioned in here, but it is like really just spot on, spectacular. I wish I could say anything, like I wish I could think of a particular one that I found very interesting. But yeah, so like The Lavender Scare. So this is like more of a historical kind of one. The one right before that is talking about a covert gaze at conservative gays. Oh, that's funny. Gays and gays. Oh my gosh. How funny. So, and just like everything, you know? And I feel like this person, Joey Allison Sayers, I feel like I've seen their comics quite a bit, that style. This looks really familiar to me, so I feel like maybe I've seen that on Instagram. But anyways, I would 100% recommend. I really like this. Jake bought this for me and for our friend. I think he got a copy for our friend, and then he like got a copy for me too, because, you know, because he's sweet. So anyways, I really liked that. And then next, I would probably put Passing by Nella Larson. I did end up accidentally watching, and I don't think I never finished the introduction, but whatever, I'll read it eventually. I ended up watching the movie for my movie club shortly after reading the book, which was super interesting, because the vibes of the two are just like completely different. The movie is spectacular, and they use coloring in a really good way because it's black and white, so coloring maybe is the wrong word, shadow and light, they use really, really well to kind of play on the themes of the book, or story, I guess, since it's the movie. But anyway, so here we're following a young woman named Claire, and she is a light-skinned African-American woman, and then she runs into an old friend whose name is Irene, who is also a light-skinned African-American woman. But Irene is passing as white, and she's married to like a huge racist. And so they run into each other, and Claire is basically uncomfortable with all of it. And it's really interesting. I'm definitely a team Claire person, not a team Irene person. I don't know. There's a lot of like things happening between the two of them, and like Irene kind of inserting herself into Claire's life, and that really, really irritated me like so much. I understand where she's coming from, because she's stuck in this world that she has chosen for herself. And so she wants to get some of that black like culture and black experience. But in doing so, she is like kind of damaging Claire psychologically a little bit. So anyways, I thought this was also really good. I'm glad that I finally read that, because I feel like embarrassed that I hadn't read it up to that point. And then I guess I'm going to put The Ice Palace by Tarji Vessas. And this is translated. Wow, I need to start reading more translated books. I'm getting on a bad train here. Translated by Elizabeth Roken, and it's in this beautiful, beautiful edition, Peter Owen Cased Classics. And so the underneath the dust jacket, there's a painting, and there's 3 other books in the series. Herman Hesse, Siddhartha, Ice by Anna Kavin, and Confessions of a Mask by Yukio Mishima. And so they all have, you know, like a cutout design on the front, and then painting on the inside. And this painting is by, hold on. The painting is called Clouds Are Pushing in Gray Reluctance by Kay Donachi. So, and it's oil on canvas. So I just really liked that. Anyways, this is heartbreaking. This book is so good. So our protagonist is a young girl whose name I don't even know. Un is not the main girl. Un is the other girl, I think, right? Yeah, Sis. Oof, I don't remember which one is which, but we've got a young girl who's like living her best life. She's like having all these friends and having a good time, and then a new young girl joins their class. And so they're trying to like bring her in, and she's really reluctant, but then a little bit of a relationship forms between the two girls. But then things like really go off the deep end, and it's so good. I'm sorry, I'm like getting really emotional thinking about it. It's beautiful. I can't tell if the relationship between the two girls is like, I think it's more than just friendship. Like, I think they have maybe some romantic feelings towards each other, but they're both very young and like don't know anything about any of that stuff. So they're, I think like the plot twist is the wrong word, but like where the like plot kind of takes a different path, where it starts with just, you know, kids being friends, and where it kind of switches into a completely different story. I think the catalyst for that is the fact that these two young girls are embarrassed by, you know, how maybe they're feeling towards each other. And yeah, so good. The writing is very, very interesting. It's straightforward, sparse. There's not a lot of extra anything in here. And it almost feels like these two girls like just don't have a very large vocabulary, or, you know, it's just very sparse. That bird sounds like it's inside of my house. Anyways, and yeah, so if you don't want to cry, maybe don't read it. And if you want more information, because I'm trying to be a little bit vague, because I think not knowing anything about the plot was nice. Oh my gosh. Okay. Sorry about that. And so anyways, and then I would say my favorite book of the month of May is Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner, which I'm pretty sure I put in first place for BookTube Prize. And so good. Again, I already talked about this in my BookTube Prize video, so I'll link it below, but spectacular. So good. All right. So June, I did not DNF anything in June. Oh, right. Is that when I had COVID? Right. So I had COVID, and so I like couldn't concentrate. So I was just watching a lot of movies, and then I was working 70 hours in one week, and then 50 hours in another week, and then 50 hours in the next week. So I did not do any reading basically in the month of June, except for BookTube Prize books and then one other book. So I'll just, again, I feel like ranking them is stupid since I ranked them in my BookTube Prize book video, and I just don't want to be talking anymore, and Jake just got here with my food. So anyways, my least favorite book was A World on the Wing, and I cannot wait to get rid of this. It is going bye-bye. I will link below me talking about it. Then I love all the rest of these books. Okay, so then I guess, you know, Nuclear Folly, Facing the Mountain, and A Swim in the Pond in the Rain by George Saunders, which I actually almost want to say was my favorite book of the month. But Earthlings was so good. So I also read Earthlings by Sagaka Murata, and this is translated by Ginny Tapley Takamori, and just so good. This is just like my kind of book, you know, so that's kind of part of my thing. I will say extremely graphic and extremely upsetting sexual violence towards a child by an adult in a position of power over this child, and like just that whole storyline and everything about that interaction and like how her parents reacted, or her mom, it was just obscene and disgusting and so upsetting. So I can see most people maybe not being able to read this book because that happens kind of towards the beginning of the book, and it is really, really, really rough. It's horrible. But I just think the book in general is really good, and really, you know, it touches again on similar themes of Convenience Store Woman, of like a young girl feeling disconnected from surroundings and feeling like she is not of this planet and like does not belong with others, and exploring that and her interactions with her cousin, and then, you know, her husband at some point. Jake just got home. So yeah, I just really like it. I don't know what to tell you. Even though those horrible things are in here, the book in general has a lot of merit in my opinion. So anyways, I guess since I feel like maybe a lot of people would not want that book, for my giveaway, I will do Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. So if you'd like to win a copy of Crying in H Mart, you have to say something in the comments below, because if you don't, then I'm not going to know you want it. So, all right. So hopefully this coming, although I've read like nothing so far. And oh wait, this can't be my May, June wrap up. Is my April, May wrap up? Are we in the month of June right now? Yeah. Okay. This is my April, May wrap up. Sorry that I've been saying the wrong months this whole time. I'm so stupid. Okay, yeah, so hopefully in July I'll have a June wrap up, and this will not be happening more than it already has. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.